Krunchy. Stays crunchy. And milk.
I find it fascinating. Well, I was about to say, I find it fascinating how the Lakers were like doing the thing for a little bit there, and now they just seem to be at a loss. Who is missing right now that I'm unaware of because I have not been keeping up on them?
LeBron's out with a strained groin.
That'll do
it. They have like, and Rui Hachimura has been out. I know the other night, like they had like those two out, and their center that they've been starting was out. I know all that because that cost me money. So I was quite displeased with their inability to beat the Brooklyn Nets. But but I was laughing because they were in a timeout and they had like the game's on TNT. So they went to they were doing a close-up shot of like Reggie Miller and I don't know who else is calling the game. Like I just turned it on of like their little commentary desk because they were talking about something going on. I mean, I have it on mute so I couldn't hear what they were saying. Yeah. But I could see some women in the background and like the one woman realized that like they were like Reggie Miller and them were on camera. Yeah. And so she started to scoot because the seats next to her were empty, like the people had gotten up. So she realized like, oh, this is my opportunity to get on camera. So she got up to start trying to move into the more middle seat behind Reggie Miller and them. And as soon as she got up to do that, they cut away back to the action.
Caught you slipping. Well, speaking of basketball in general, but sports in overall, I'm saying the Cavaliers 15-game win streak, second 15-game win streak of this season, and yet no one speaks well of us. Like it's actually kind of hard to find people who are like, oh yeah, we fuck with the Cavs. Cavs got something to say, but for whatever reason, they seem to fully believe that OKC is going to be, the Western Conference team in the finals.
It's something. It's like it's the way things are on the internet. Okay, everything's absolutes. Okay, there's no gray area with people who do this sort of like commentary. Okay, there is like the teams that they think are good, and by the good they think the teams that are going to win, like have a realistic shot of winning the title. Yeah. Because they don't think the Cavs can beat Boston, they don't think the Cavs have a shot at winning the title, so they don't talk about the Cavs in a positive way to that regard. It's starting to shift some because like Stephen A. Smith finally like had to give up the ghost and admit that like the Cavs are a good team, so he's been talking about them more on ESPN. I will give him credit for that. Okay. Some other people have been like Brian Windhorst, but Brian Windhorst is from Akron. He grew up around here. Like, yeah,
he used to be a Cavs beat writer.
Yeah, yeah. But he the last couple of days said that he thinks Boston's gonna come out of the East, so he thinks Boston's gonna beat the Cavs. Okay. But he also thinks the Cavs have a better chance of beating Boston than a lot of people give them credit for. But yeah, that's just the way things are. There's no room for gray area. There's like. People think that like having like a season like we're having and then losing in the playoffs is like the end of the world. Like only one fucking team's going to win the title. Like only one team makes it out of the East. Like are the Cavs better than a lot of teams in the East? Yeah. So like the Cavs in theory should make it to the Eastern Conference Finals at the very least, but like anything could fucking happen. Someone could get hurt. Like fucking the number one seeded Bucks got bounced in the first round a couple years ago to like the Miami Heat. Like shit happens. Like, yeah. Now I think it would be very bad if the Cavs end up losing the first round to like someone from the play-in tournament. Don't get me wrong, but like some people like Boston's been fucking doing this for years now. Like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown have been going deep in the playoffs every year for like the last like 7 years. This Cavs team's only been together, like they've had 2 playoff runs. The first one, they got embarrassed. They were in over their head. They had never been to the playoffs before. They got, they lost 4-1 to the Knicks in the first round 2 years ago. Yeah. I guess like technically the Cavs didn't make the play-in a couple years ago, but that was before they got Donovan Mitchell. Like they embarrassed themselves in the play-in. So that was their first real taste of playoff basketball. Then they actually get into the playoffs and they weren't ready. Yeah. Then last year, they were more prepared, but like they had injuries hit them. Not to say that I think they would have done anything past the second round anyway, but they barely scraped by past Orlando, who is a really solid team, but they're dealing with their own injuries this year. And then they go up against Boston, and like Darius Garland could barely play because of that broken jaw they had earlier in the year, and now we know his grandma passed away, so he was, going through it.
Yeah.
Fucking Donovan Mitchell only played like half that series because of his knee. So like it was really like Evan Mobley, who like didn't even know how to play offensive basketball, going out there and trying to figure it out, in front of the world on the fly with like nobody around him. Like no one was shooting well. Like Evan Mobley's putting up 40 because he had no choice. Now this year, like I think they give Boston more of a fight, but like I've said that like I don't think Evan Mobley is consistent enough yet to be you can reliably expect that kind of performance out of him at this point. Like I think you can get a game or two, but like I don't know like if he'll be able to do it enough for them to actually win a series. At least not yet. Like when I said I mean not yet. Like maybe I think this is like their last year of like I think Boston will win. But I think like going into next year, I think next year would be the year where I would think like, okay, the Cavs are ready.
Okay. Forgive me. I feel like I sound echoey. How do I sound to you?
But like I told you, you're like sometimes you're robot. So
that's fascinating. I feel like I said, I'm hearing my own self echo, and I wonder what I can do about that. Does that do anything better? Not really. Can't call it, but I'll have Vanessa check and make sure we're sounding good. You sound fine, sweetheart. Fair enough. Well, all right. She said it sounds fine, so I'm going to believe it sounds fine. It just sounds weird to me in my ears, which is quite possible. What's I going to say? All I keep hearing is like, Evan Mobley going to be Defensive Player of the Year. And I'm like, really? Because they say not a Wemby's out and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, so you're talking about you're saying we have a Defensive Player of the Year. Some people are saying we have a Defensive Player of the Year. Whereas you're saying he can't compete in a playoff series?
No, what I'm saying is offensively,
he's not.
Offensively, I don't think like he can be reliably counted on to give you 25 a night.
Okay.
With like, there are times when he goes out there and you watch the dude play, and he'll dribble, drive to the hoop and fucking finish with the left hand, cross people over, like do spin hook shots, and you're like, holy shit, this guy is going to be insane. And then there are times where like he's dribbling the ball, he gets stonewalled by the defender because he weighs like 80 pounds soaking wet, he can't get past him, then he fucking dribbles the ball off his foot, or like he just fucking like because he's only been doing this shit for like this season, really. Like he had little like bits and pieces over the last couple of years, but he was mostly just like a fucking layup machine. He was never really asked to shoot outside of like 3 feet. So now like they're asking him to bring the ball up the court and initiate offense and actually like make moves and think with the ball. And like he has nights where like, and a lot of it is the competition, but like the playoffs, they let shit go. Like people are going to be banging on him and hitting him and shit. Yeah. And like when that happens now in the regular season, he's like a deer learning to walk. Like it's like Bambi falling on the ice. Like he fumbles around, he loses the ball. Sometimes he's going to fucking do something incredible and it's going to make you go, man, what if he did this every time? But I think in the playoffs right now, for where he's at in his development, I think more often than not, he's going to be fucking falling on his face, dribbling the ball off his foot and, bricking threes. Like he had a stretch there where he was just banging threes. And now he's like 1 for 5 a game.
Mm-hmm. Fascinating. So, and it's like, it's that kind of analysis that makes me which is why I think people are kind of like, man, like it's impressive what they're doing, but they don't respect what we are.
What I'm doing, and not to toot my own horn necessarily, is like why I respect a lot of sports like reporters that go on national TV and have to talk about like teams that they grew up rooting for or played on or whatever in an objective manner. Yeah. Like the ones that can pull it off. Some just can't pull it off, and it's hard to take them seriously sometimes, because even though like they have a deep understanding of the game,
yeah,
probably way deeper than I will ever have from them being so close to it. But like when their objectivity kind of bleeds into their arguments sometimes, it's like, oh God, like at least like, and I don't want to like try and hype up Stephen A. Smith here, because it's not like I'm, quote unquote, to quote the youngsters, glazing the guy. But like he can go on TV and like you very plainly can see that he's a fucking Knicks fan.
Yeah.
But he is not afraid to go on TV and talk about their flaws and things they need to do better, and praise them when they're doing well, and like he can be objective. So it's like I give him props for that. So like deep down, everyone who ever listened to the show knows that I'm a diehard Cavs fan. I still cry when I watch the video of the NBA them winning the championship. I watched it like 2 weeks ago. That 7-minute clip shows up in my YouTube recommended all the fucking time. Those last like 2 minutes of that game.
Yeah,
I know that shit from forward to back. But like I can, and some, I guess part of it is like the inner pessimist in me too.
For sure.
Like
is that pessimism or is that realism? Honest to God.
Yeah, it's like I feel like I do a fairly decent job of towing the line of like being hopeful and wanting them to win.
Yeah.
And kind of looking at it and not being disappointed when they don't, if they don't.
Yeah.
Because I think like my analysis for what their situation is spot on. I just kind of hope that it ends up being like different than the way I see it.
Okay. The breadth of it is Evan Mobley probably needs to put on some muscle, getting that hit that fucking gym hard, get them protein shakes popping, and get that, if he's gonna shoot them threes, get them threes right. If that's what he's gonna do.
Yeah, he's definitely improved from like the few that he did last year. Like like I said, you can see the improvement in the guy, but I think he's still got a little ways to go before it's consistent. And there's still growth to be had.
Yeah,
but I think he's got a good foundation after this year.
I think I have not necessarily enjoyed, because I hate watching us nearly lose, but it has been interesting to see people play us up during this streak. They all want to put an end to it.
I think it's going to end tomorrow.
Oh, again in Memphis, same.
Donovan's out, and Memphis is a tough matchup even with Donovan. Yeah, and like it's in Memphis. Like who knows? Like I said, I hope I'm wrong. I'll be watching the game, but like I have this feeling like it's gonna end tomorrow. Yeah, and so like every squad we have played, like let's say the last 4 or 5 games has been like, oh, y'all motherfuckers want to play, but also I think that's good, because if let's say they're playing not necessarily at playoff level, but they're playing at a higher level with the intention of like I want these Cavaliers to lose, and we're still managing wins. I'm like, okay, that means we're playing at this point, at this part of the season, at that higher tier. That means maybe we got another gear we can shift into, hopefully, when the playoffs come around, and we'll see how that all plays out. So, the fan in me, when those games happen, I get real on tilt. Yeah, like when they're down like fucking 18 to the Brooklyn Nets, who are shorthanded and played the night before, and then I'm like, fuck it, going to play Call of Duty. But then it's like they come back, and you're like, fuck, like shame on me for doubting them. But then I guess like it's also good, one, they learn how to come back in those situations. 2, you kind of like applaud them for not quitting, and then 3, it's probably good for their development to learn who can, like, it probably gives them a chance to test out rotations, try different matchups, play with things in a time where like failing doesn't hurt them. Yeah. So who's crying? I was about to say, I was like, which one of these babies is yelling at you? Lila's in heat, so she's in her talkative phase right now. Yeah. Like, shut up, cat. No. Would you have spent this? Okay. Were you the owner putting bricks on you know what I'm saying, on it? Would you have spent this money on Myles Garrett? That's tough. As an owner, man, I think for an owner, I have to imagine they probably have an ego.
Okay.
And so I have to imagine they would have a hard time wanting to give up what is widely considered the best defensive player in the NFL.
Yeah. Especially
when he embarrassed your franchise for multiple weeks on national media.
Yeah.
And I, as a fan, I very much want to watch him play football.
Yeah.
However, the objectivity in me realizes that he's 29 years old, pushing 30 this year.
Yeah.
The Browns aren't going to win shit anytime soon because they don't even have a quarterback. And they definitely could use a rebuild. The draft picks would be nice, and that's a lot of fucking money to pay one guy.
Yeah.
So they probably should have traded him, but it ain't my money.
Fair. Look, happy to have him. Happy to call him a Cleveland Brown. May he retire here one day and so forth and so on. Great, but you're right. It's like, nah, bro. We're not going to be. We'll be no worse on the defensive side of the ball. You know what I'm saying? But we're not going to be better on the offensive side of the ball, which is why we have guess Russell Wilson coming into town tomorrow or today. Did he come to town to visit with us?
He was here today. He's on his way to New York to visit the Giants tomorrow. Honestly, I feel like if they got Russ, they could probably squeak into a wild card, depending on what else they were able to pull off move-wise.
Okay.
But like, that's a short-term fix because Russell Wilson's 36, could be 37 this year. So then it's like you're still kind of like playing the quarterback carousel to a degree. Now, like maybe they take Shedeur Sanders in the draft because it sounds like they're not going to be able to get Cam Ward unless they decide to trade a bunch of picks to the Titans from the number 1 pick. So like you have Kenny Pickett. If you get Russell Wilson, and then like you still need a developmental guy. There's talk of them maybe like trading up for Jackson Dart, who would be a project QB. So you could like trade up from the 33rd pick into the middle of the first round somehow, maybe, and try to scoop him up, and that'd be your project. But you know, then you're waiting on him, and you're hoping and praying, and so it's like the Browns are kind of like
Browning.
They're Browning right now, like making bad personnel. Like it's hard to come to terms with the fact that like you probably should have given up a Hall of Fame caliber player for draft capital because the Browns have been so bad for so long that like people don't want to fucking rebuild.
Yeah, and
like you're basically admitting you're rebuilding at that point if you do that. And you know it's hard to watch like your guy go be good for somebody else.
Yeah.
But also like there's an article that came out today that basically says that like he's late to like everything and he skipped shit that he's not supposed to skip. And so they kind of made him sound like an asshole.
See, I never trust write-ups like that because I feel like they do it to like shit on people. Like they like some other player recently was getting like was catching some shit like that. And I'm like, this seems like y'all are writing this this seems like y'all got somebody on the inside, meaning doing this with intentionality to fucking like shit on this dude. It's like, ain't no way you coming out of the pocket with all this, and I'm like, oh yo, he don't do what he's supposed to do. I'm like, he doing something because he's great, like generationally great. So maybe he don't need to show up where you need him to show up to at the time you need him to show up to. If otherwise he's doing all right. Practice. We talking practice, you know what I'm saying? So I can't call it with that. But like you said, it's like, bro, again, when we get to the news, I will talk about it. But I cannot believe that these fuckers have the audacity to want a new stadium. I just can't. But also, did you see? You know, they do the end of the year grades basically for the players. Actually, do the Players Association puts it out.
Yeah, the NFL Player Association report card. And
our facility's got an F minus, maybe it might be the lowest score possible. It was us, and I think it was somebody else.
An F minus.
Yeah, it was definitely an F. So, but So it's like, I'm like, I get it. But also, it's like, I never think of a 20-year-old structure as any kind of thing old because we have buildings in this town that are 100 plus years old. So I'm like, 20 years old, that ain't shit. You can update that. But
well, yeah, but I mean, like, you know, I go into that hall to watch the fucking Charge play basketball, and like that shit's like it's an old building.
yeah,
Just like you don't go in there expecting like modern amenities and shit, but like with a football stadium, our shit's super fucking basic. And like I'm like, as far as like a Browns attendance, I'm a fair weather fan. I watch that shit at home on TV. But the times that I have gone to games, it sucks. It's cold as fuck in there, especially like when like I've gotten into this argument with my buddy, and he actually has been using fucking AI for his arguments lately.
Jesus Christ.
And he pulled up an AI thing the other day where it was talking about like, because one of my arguments to him has been like the weather being a factor in why I want a dome stadium. And he had the AI look up like all the bad Browns games that were affected by like weather over like the last so many years.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like 3 of the top 5 I was fucking at when like I barely go to games. So I guess it's like easy to see why my opinion's been skewed on the topic.
Yeah.
Because I've just had the misfortune of sitting through the fucking blizzard monsoons and fucking ice storms that, you know, it's been fucking insane.
Yeah. I just feel like they hadn't earned it. I get it, the desire. I understand the desire. I understand the need. I'll throw quotes around that need. They've done nothing to deserve it. Little to nothing. I'll allow a space for maybe there's a sprinkling or something.
They've barely done shit worthy like of that since they came back. But yet the fucking stadium still sells out every year. Yeah. People still show up. People still tailgate. It's not necessarily about wins and losses. Sometimes it's just about appreciating what you have. And if, you know, they feel like, I know that there are some people who don't want a new stadium because they don't want prices to go up and fans to be, you know, priced out, and they feel like their little fucking rinky-dink stadium down on the water is their tradition, and, you know, the Muni lot this and all that. And like, I get that. And like, I feel like that's important to those people that it's important to. But there's also like people who don't give a shit about any of that stuff who still go to games. And, you know, like, it's going to be a battle for funding, and we'll see who wins.
Well, there you go, y'all. Cleveland sports. I just want to talk. I love talking to Dan about it because, again, he has a perspective that is accurate in most situations, but also realistic. We just kiss nobody. We ain't glazing over here, children. Let me spit some flows and we'll get into it. I'm actually not going to spit them. I'm going to read them because they're real good lyrics. They touch my heart a little bit, and I want to just clearly state them as opposed to trying to rap them. Life of the party. What happened?
Giannis just got fouled, and he like stared down the dude like, motherfucker, like I would swing on you right now if I could.
Life of the party. Kanye West, Andre 3000 off of Donda 20 from 2021. This is a 3 Stacks verse. Hey, Miss Donda, you run into my mama, please tell her I said say something. I'm starting to believe ain't no such thing as heaven's trumpets. No after over, this is it done. If there's a heaven, you would think they'd let you speak to your son. Maybe she has in the form of a baby's laugh. I heard passing by in a stroller reminding me, hey, keep rolling. I don't know. Maybe she has with the prick of a blade of grass I've been laying on way too long, got me itchy. Got up and roamed a little more. Miss Donda, you see my mama, tell her I'm lost. You see, she'd always light a cigarette. We talk, I would cough, exaggerating a little bit so she'd get the point. Trying to get her to stop smoking. I would leave and fire up a joint till I quit. Started back up again 20 years later. All that time, y'all thought a nigga was high. Thought I was crazy. My mom, she ain't cut no corners. Got me back on track. I don't miss her overstepping, but I do miss her showing 7 civilian life shit. Miss Donda, you see my mama whisper her this. The real reason I was geeked to go to church, must confess, when y'all grown ups will be in Bible study, the girl helping me with my homework, her and I were so pure and so spirit spinning and dirty, so on and so on and so on. We hope that no one heard us. And to this day, I think her mama knew, but let us explore. Miss Donna, you see my father, please ask him why he never married. Always smiled, but was happy inside. Always smiled, but was he happy inside? Because I carried my mother's name, did he carry shame with him? I'm sure she did it out of spite. 'Twas her decision at birth. Shit, she probably was hurt. Ah, poor baby. Two young people with different views. A lot for a young lady. No coincidence they both passed away from heart conditions. There's a dissonance at play. Dad and mom do hard division. 3,000. Poster child for being raised by their mothers. I'm supposed to smile if God knew that I would be troubled. Keeps me around for what I don't know. But I do know that it's crucial that we do so pronto. I don't know how much long, though. Welcome to its episodes 567, and we're not Peterbilt. I'm your host, Internet Terror 713, joined by other host, the eBay Emperor himself. It's Lunchbox 2099.
Nothing but net.
Oh my gosh, y'all. Standard show fair this week. Box don't know. Well, maybe Box knows now because I'm saying maybe it popped up in his feed, but episode 566 was recorded in Norfolk, Virginia with my mama and my big sister this past Saturday. It's up right now on your feeds. I even made a video for it, though there is no video for it. So that's what that episode is, and that's why now we're at 567.
Can confirm, I had no idea.
That's how it is. But here we are back live on Twitch and YouTube doing the damn thing. You could be in the chat now like my lady is. That's her. Like, bro, you can't see her, but I can see her that she was in the chat. I had to ask her to make sure the sound was sounding. But you know what it is. I got a couple of news stories for you. We're both going to tell you some stories of our lives, and we'll do some the assholes talk entertainment. We'll leave. It's relatively simplistic. We do it every week, mostly, and it's a good time to be had. I am not feeling 100%. You might hear it in my throat, my snoot. My apologies if that doesn't sound glorious, but hey, tis what it is. Your first story, both stories are of this week. I pulled from Cleveland.com, which is basically the plain dealer. This first one is Ohio lawmakers to drop DeWine's sin taxes hike from budget plan, add $600 million in Browns stadium bonds. This was Jeremy Pelzer on the byline. Columbus, Ohio state lawmakers are preparing to dump Governor Mike DeWine's proposed tax increases on cigarettes, marijuana, and sports gambling from the state's budget bill in the next couple of weeks, according to a key lawmaker. In addition, the Ohio House Finance Committee will likely soon add language to the massive budget legislation to authorize $600 million in state-backed bonds to help pay for a new $2.4 billion Cleveland Browns stadium in suburban Brook Park, according to the Finance Committee Chair Brian Stewart, a Pickwick County Republican. Both moves would be major blows to DeWine's budget plans, which sought to double the state's 20% tax on sports betting. Wow, companies to help fund stadium projects for sports teams like the Browns. Oh, see, that is smart. Well, of course, it's smart, and of course, they're not going to do it because it's smart. DeWine, a Republican who also sought tax hikes on recreational marijuana and cigarettes to pay for, respectively, a $1,000 per child income tax credit and funding for things like police training in local jails. The removal of DeWine's tax proposals, Stewart said, reflect unease amongst House Republicans who hold almost 2/3 of House seats with raising taxes. Stewart said the tax increases are set to be removed by the House Finance Committee either next week or an initial round of budget bill changes, or in 2 weeks when the committee makes additional revisions. Stewart and other House leaders say they hope to pass the budget bill by mid-April, after which it goes to the Senate for additional changes. Stewart's comments come a day after DeWine touted his stadium funding plan and child tax credit in his annual State of the State address. The plain dealer /Cleveland.com has reached out to DeWine's spokesman for comment. The governor has argued that he would prefer to create a permanent source of funding for stadium projects and suggested that providing the Browns $600 million via bonds could end up costing up to $1 billion when interest payments are factored in. However, a Browns representative downplayed such fears during a presentation to state lawmakers earlier this week, saying the bonds would be paid off via tax revenue generated from the stadium and a proposed $1 billion mixed-use development surrounding it. The Browns' projections show the revenue would cover the cost of the bonds plus add money to state coffers. The team also has offered to set aside $38 million, which would grow with interest over time, that could be tapped into if projected tax revenues aren't able to cover bond costs. DeWine's budget plans unveiled last month also proposed doubling the state's tax on recreational marijuana up to 20%, to 20% up from 10% rate Ohio voters approved in 2023. The governor would use the money raised from the tax increase for things like police training, improvement to local jails, and moving driver's education programs from the private sector back to high school. That is a thing that should be. The fact that we don't have driver's ed in our schools is weird. The Ohio Senate passed legislation last month to do a major change to the Senate's recreational marijuana law, but as written, neither that bill nor recently introduced marijuana reform bill in the House would touch the current 10% tax rate. A third provision in DeWine's budget would nearly double the state's cigarette tax from $1.60 per pack now to $3.10 per pack. The state tax on vaping products would also rise by the same proportion. Those tax increases would be used to cover the nearly $1 billion price tag of a state income tax credit of $1,000 per child for parents of kids age 6 and younger, which comes with certain income eligibility limits. So basically, I feel like the state has basically said that fuck that Modell law that this state passed, mind you. We're going to let these people build this stadium in Brook Park, and we're going to fucking fund it. So there you go. That's how you know the Browns will definitely moving to Brook Park when it's all said and done. Ugh.
I mean, it's basically a given.
True indeed. But hey. This other story is Molly Walsh on the byline. 6 Ohio companies named world's most ethical in 2025. And I thought that was pretty dope. And I like to, wrap up on a good news story and not a sad news story. 6 Ohio-based companies have been named the 2025 world's most ethical companies list, underscoring the state's commitment to ethical business practices across various industries. The annual list, curated by Ethisphere, a Phoenix-based organization that focuses on the advancing ethical business standards, recognized 136 organizations from 19 countries and 44 industries this year. The honorees are celebrated for their dedication to integrity, governance, and robust compliance programs. 11 companies on this year's list are being recognized for the first time. There are also 6 companies, Aflac, Ecolab, International Paper, Kale Corporation, Milliken & Co., and PepsiCo, that have been recognized 19 times every year since the inception of the world's most ethical companies in 2007. To be considered, companies must provide at least 240 different proof points on practices that support robust ethics and compliance, governance, a culture of ethics, environmental and social impact, and initiatives that support a strong value chain. Erica Salmon Byrne, Chief Strategy Officer and Executive Chair at Ethisphere, thanked the companies honored this year for their work. Congratulations to this year's class of honorees. These organizations understand the strong ethics is good business. Integrity-driven companies outperform financially, create talent-rich work environments, and build trust, she said. The Ohio companies featured in the 2025 list are Eaton Corporation, a power management corporation headquartered in Cleveland. Eaton has been recognized as one of the most ethical companies by Ethisphere 14 times. The Timken Company, based in North Canton, Timken specializes in engineering bearings and industrial motion products. This marks their 14th recognition on the list. Lincoln Electric, a Cleveland-based leader in welding equipment and solutions, Lincoln Electric has earned its 7th recognition this year. The Goodyear Tire and Rubber Co., headquartered in Akron, Goodyear, a global tire manufacturer, has been honored for the 2nd time. Fifth Third Bank, with significant operations in Ohio and headquartered in Cincinnati, Fifth Third Bank has been recognized 5 times prior to this year, highlighted in dedication to ethical banking practices. I don't think about Fifth Third to tell me to the contrary, but okay. And J.M. Smucker Co., based in Oroville, this food manufacturer known for brands like Smucker's and Jif, has been acknowledged for the 9th time. They also are, I think they own Alpo. J.M. Smucker's Co., go look up what they do. It's a lot. Respect that they are an Ohio-based company. And it's dope that these companies are doing good work. I'm not going to lie to you. Go read into Fifth Third's. Go read up on Fifth Third. I'll just say that. Now leave it right there on the table. So I'm gonna be real with you. Maybe what they mean is different than what I mean. Shop turkeys. I just realized I was looking at the other. I'm sorry, y'all. I managed to once again keep everything on that side of the screen. So I was over here looking over here that whole time instead of down the barrel. My apologies. I need to move this over here. So at least Am of the Asshole will be done right. But for now, hold on, I got to pull up the video window so I can click on it. It's Spock's time to shine. And we hand the reins of the show over to him for...
I hope it's like the Wonder Years where like you got me like playing in the front yard by a white picket fence, and then like me looking lovingly into like my crush's eyes as I kiss for the first time, and then all of a sudden I'm getting on a boat to war. And then,
I thought it would involve books in some way, story time, but damn.
Yeah, I mean, I guess reading Rainbow works too.
It's time for some story time with Lunchbox. Box, what's going on, man?
So I took a ride down to Columbus, Ohio with a buddy of mine this past Saturday. And we went down there to try a sandwich shop called Wario's.
Been hearing about it.
Yeah, the one Instagram food lady that you guys like, she went there recently, and I've seen a couple other people. What's
because she's so damn fine. And I know that's a bad reason just to be like, whatever. It's like, it's great that she talks about food. So and so, but she's so damn fine, y'all. Alexis, whatever her name is, bruh, it's a problem. It's weird to be that pretty.
Well, she wasn't there when we went to get the food, so
damn shame.
But yeah, me and my buddy went down there. We were supposed to have a board game night with a couple other buddies that evening, so we were supposed to go back in November, but he had a friend who had like a medical problem come up where like it was like a life and death situation.
Oh,
and so we kind of put it on the back burner while that was all working its way out. And so like we were supposed to do the game night on like March 1st, but he had like basically a date. So he was going to not come to the game night. And I asked him if he wanted to go to Columbus because I thought he was coming to the game night. Yeah. But that's when I found out about the date thing, and he probably wasn't going to come to the board game thing. So the board game thing got rescheduled to the following Saturday. And then he's like, so, hey, you doing anything? You want to go to Columbus? And I was like, oh, so you're just turning my ask back on me, huh? So we left here. So I drove my car to my buddy's house because he lives like 20 minutes away. Mm. And I left it there, and then he picked me up from that house. And like we were supposed to meet at 10, and then he ended up being late. So I was tired. So like I got up, showered and everything, and then I got there, and like 2 minutes before I parked, like he texted me. He's like, oh, I'm running late. I'll be there by like 10:15. And I just sent him the angry John Cena picture.
Send me a sad John Cena. Or I don't know if
it was the same picture.
Okay. I don't think that's angry. You think that's angry?
Well, that was like when he turned heel.
Oh, okay.
That was the face he made when he was like looking at The Rock, like I'm about to fuck this motherfucker up. So like I sat in the car, and wait on him to show up, and then like he pulled up next to me, and like I was thinking like, what the fuck is he doing? And I'm like, oh yeah, it dawned on me. I'm like, I'm supposed to get out of my car and get in his car. Because I told you I was fucking tired. And so like we were going down to Columbus, and we noticed that there was a Taco John's that was at like the Love station down somewhere on like Maslin or something.
Okay.
And he's like, oh man, I want to try that. We should get that on the way back. And I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. I'm down to clown. And so like we get down to Columbus and we go to the sandwich place. Now, like, you know how I operate. Like, there's multiple locations. So I did some reconnaissance work earlier in the week, and I found a location that had like its own parking lot. It wasn't like in like a busy spot, with like, where where it was walkable or whatever. Like it was in like a little strip mall, like, but there was also a comic book store like right across the street.
Of course.
And it turns out there was also a Magic the Gathering shop right across the street behind the comic book store. So,
like the best location is this one.
Yeah, I was like, this is the most optimal for our trek.
Yeah.
So I went to the sandwich shop and we got 3 sandwiches and we split them so we could try multiple things.
Yeah.
One of the best Philly steak sandwiches I've ever had. Like the bread down there was fantastic.
All right.
Like it was delicious. They had we got the chicken Caesar cutlet, which was weird because it also had like a red sauce on it, like a tomato-based sauce, which didn't make any fucking sense. Yeah. It was almost like they mixed like a chicken Caesar salad
and a cutlet with a Caesar salad.
Yeah, it was weird. It was still good, but it was not what I was expecting.
Yeah.
And then we got like some chicken sandwich. I forget what it was called, but it had like a pesto on it and some sort of cheese and stuff. It was okay, but like I would never get it again if I given the option. Like,
do you appreciate pesto normally?
I do, but like I didn't like the contrast of hot to cold on that sandwich. I felt like the cold was overpowering the hot.
Yeah.
It just felt like it was like a cold sandwich that was supposed to be hot and crispy. So I didn't like the mouthfeel of it. And then I ordered like a side of their like smashed potatoes. They do like little like fingerlings. Yeah. And they kind of smash them and cover them in like a Parmesan and shit. And then they give you like a garlic aioli sauce to dip them in. Fantastic. I ended up bringing like, because we ordered 3 sandwiches. Like we thought there was going to be like sizing options.
Yeah.
But no, it was 3 fucking full sandwiches.
Oh shit.
And so we each ate a sandwich and a half, like, because we split all 3 of them.
Yeah.
And then, so it's like by the time we got to the fingerlings, like, there was no way. So I ate a couple of them so that I could say I ate them fresh. But then I brought them home and I ate them for like next day for like breakfast. So we went over to the comic book store after this, and I think I've talked about this one before on the show, but there's like 3 comic books that like I personally have wanted for my collection. That I've never bothered to get, you know, for one reason or another, price, timing, anything like that. And so like my buddy is like, we're walking around in there and I wasn't really expecting to get anything. But like we're walking around and he pulls this off the fucking wall and tells me that if I don't buy it, he's going to.
Yeah.
And clearly I bought it because it's in my hand. So this was one of the 3 comic books that I've wanted for my personal collection for a very long time. I don't know. Like I didn't look up the price on eBay. I probably should have. So I don't know if like I got a good deal or not. But the book looks like, and I haven't taken it out and like gone through it, but like the cover's in fantastic fucking shape.
Yeah.
Like I'm actually very impressed with the quality of it. And to like not get too far ahead, we ended up going to another comic book store later on in the afternoon, and they had this comic book there graded. It was like a 9.8 or something like that.
Yeah.
$1,500.
Jesus Christ.
10 times what I paid for this ungraded one. Let's see. Amazing Spider-Man 252. I must have turned off completed recently. Sold. So depending on the grade, it's about right. It's about what it's worth.
Okay.
So I paid about market value depending on quality. And like I said, this appears to be in fantastic quality. Like, honestly, I think it's in gradable quality. I should probably look into doing that. And I'm not just saying that. Like, I'll show you the next time you're over here, like how nice this fucking book looks. So I got that. And then we walked to the back of the building where there was a game store.
Yeah.
You know, Magic the Gathering, board games, like that kind of stuff. And I actually think I've been there one time. Like, whatever year in the NFL draft, Andrew Luck and Robert Griffin the Jr., Robert Griffin the third, were going to be like the top 2 picks.
Yeah.
That was the year that like I was at this place because I remember going there. Like, we stopped there so that like my buddy could pick something up from someone. I think we were going to like a tournament the next day or in Columbus or something, and somebody had some cards there that he needed to borrow. So like I remember we parked in the parking lot. I remember it being like a shitty parking lot. I remember having to walk up some stairs to get inside there.
Yeah.
And then I kind of vaguely remembered how it looked on the inside, but like we weren't there very long. But I remember throughout the whole thing, we were having a conversation on if the Browns should try and trade up to get one of those quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So that's why I remember when I was there, because that was the conversation that was going on in the car. So like we walked in there, and I one of the things that I've been trying to get back into my Magic collection was dual lands.
Yeah.
And I ended up dropping some money on a tropical island there. So the one thing that I told myself when we went on the trip was that like if we went to a shop and they had a dual land, it wasn't insane, I would buy it. Like that was gonna be like my one splurge for the trip was a dual land.
Yeah.
And so clearly I already had splurged on the comic book. Then the dual land came, and the dual land was almost 3 times that comic book.
Wow.
So I was like already at that point over $500 deep into expenses for personal items on this trip that like in my mind, like that's all right, I'm done, you know?
Yeah.
So then like we ended up going to another comic book store, and he's been like on the hunt for the first 100 X-Men comics.
Okay.
And so like I'm sorry, at the first comic book store we went to, he actually bought the first Iron Man comic. They had it like it was like really rough shape. But he ended up buying it for like $200. So now he owns Iron Man #1, like the first Iron Man.
The one he's in that big silver bulky suit.
Something like that, yeah. Like the book was in rough fucking shape. Like one of the staples was out and shit was like, yeah. But like shit like that, it's like I explained it, like the way we talked about it was like, very rarely are you going to find these things to begin with. Very rarely are they going to be in like good shape. If they're in good shape, they're going to be way out of your price range. That you'll feel comfortable paying. And I'm like, and sometimes in this, I think in the comic book game, you just want to get like if you even care about like the condition, just get one in your collection, and you could always swap out. You could always get an upgrade. You could always trade. Like just getting one in the collection to mark it off that you have one is important when you're trying to complete a goal.
Yeah.
And it's like with these dual lands, like I plan on playing with these things. And so like they don't necessarily need to be in the best condition. I don't want things that look like someone wiped their ass with them and then they're all fucking cut up and scratched and torn and shit. But like if they got some, roughness around the edges and the backs are a little scuffed up, like I don't care. Like, and maybe at some point, like, once I get like an entire set, maybe I'll, work on upgrades, or I'll have extras or something. Like it's a long-term project I'm working on. Dual lands are fucking expensive.
Yeah.
And so like, it's like what I've tried to explain to my dad is I can only do so much. I only have so much income to do so much with it. So, at certain times, because my dad's always like, oh, you should get crypto and buy gold and silver and this and that and the other. I'm like, I don't know how much fucking money you think I make, dude, but like I'm a one income household. So it's like I can only do one thing at a time, or I can do multiple things to a small degree.
Yeah.
And so we are at this other comic book store, and I thought my day was over, whatever. I'm walking around. I'm just looking at the figures. He's asking them about like, do they have any old X-Men's? And then he has a friend, I guess, who's like collects like the first like 100 or 50 Fantastic Four, some shit like that. And so he was asking them if they had any of that stuff. And then they had signs all over the store that like they were having like a sale on action figures were like 25% off today, and these things were 10% off this, that, and the other. And I think it was one of those things where like they typically mark the shit up higher, and then they're putting them on sale, and they're still making profit on the product, but like now they're trying to get it out the door because it's been sitting for a while.
Yeah.
And this second comic book store we went to, the first one was kind of like, it felt like the casual place where like They didn't have a lot of older stuff. They had a couple of older things that did come in, but it was mostly like a place to go to get like new tray backs, like Funko Pops. Like it was a nice place. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But it didn't feel like the like expensive comic book hobby, graded comics, like, you know, like vintage things in the showcase. Like it was like the high school kids go here to get their whatevers, or, you know, the people bring their kids in and they go get like I bought a couple of Magic the Gathering like trades there.
Okay.
Like so like they were paperbacks, because the paperbacks, like, they were all encompassing and they were the same price as getting the hardbacks that were like broken up into 3 series. So I was like, I'll pay $25 for the whole thing rather than $75 for the whole fucking thing. So I bought those there with that first comic book, you know. So we're at the second place, and then he was talking to them about the sale that they were having on the graded stuff in the case, and then I noticed this.
The OG 300. Yeah,
Yep.
It's a fucking classic book.
This was the most wanted one for me in my collection. And I almost bought it in Atlanta, Georgia a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
It was like $700, and I ended up not doing it. And I have a friend who bought a comic book collection about 16 months ago.
Yeah.
Someone had passed away, and he was there to kind of like buy like their pinball machines and stuff.
Yeah.
And the next of kin ended up like liquidating the comic book collection to my buddy too.
Yeah.
For like $200 or something like that.
Wow.
And in that collection was Spider-Man 300, and my buddy talked about selling to me like for, you know, like half of what it was worth. But like he was talking about getting some stuff graded, and he was gonna like sell some stuff at the flea market stuff. Like he had a lot of stuff in there. Like he definitely like came out ahead on what he paid for the collection, because I helped him go through it the one night. It was we had gone to like the Browns Bears game like that day, and then we ended up going back to his house, grabbed Chipotle, and watched Sunday Night Football. And I helped him like look up comics on eBay. So this has been like 16 months ago though, and I haven't heard squat about that. Probably a few reasons for that that I won't get into on the show here.
Fair.
But I was like, I'm at the point where I was just like, all right, it's been 16 months and I haven't heard anything about this. Can I really trust that this is still going to happen?
Yeah.
Like it very well could have, but this opportunity was staring me right in the face.
Yeah. Bird in the hand.
Yeah, all their graded comics in their case were 10% off.
Okay.
And this was half of what it cost in Atlanta, and it was a grade 8.
Yeah.
So it was $390, 10% off. So it was like, you know, $353 or whatever plus tax.
Yeah.
So I think in the after tax and everything, I paid like $370 something.
Okay.
So, you know, I was perfectly comfortable doing that.
Yeah.
Now there's only one more book that I want for my collection in this, and it's Secret Wars 8. First appearance of the Black Symbiote.
Okay.
And they had that graded in the case too, but it was like $700. And I was like, I spent too much money today. I can't at this point.
How much Secret Wars 8 was going for it?
Well, it was also like a 9.8 or something like that. So it was a high grade.
So very nearly perfect.
But also Secret Wars, the movies are coming.
Yeah.
So I think there's that like, you know, that Secret War movie markup that's currently taking place.
Yeah. Here's a 9 for $290.
Yeah,
That's
see, like I said.
Yeah. $250, $220 on whatnot for an 8. So, yeah. That's what's up. So that's not just possible, bloody likely sooner than later for you. Yeah.
Like, I mean, at this point, it's like I'm 2/3 of the way there.
Yeah.
You know, at some point I will get the third one, and then like in my mind, like I'm good. Like
I was gonna ask, what do you do when you catch a white whale? Like you just like, there you go, I did it.
Well, I mean, like these were important to me because they go in my Venom collection.
Yeah.
It's like it's the first appearance. It's the first cover of Black Suit Spider-Man. It's the first appearance of Venom in the comics.
Yeah.
And then the Secret Wars is the first appearance of the Black Symbiote.
Yeah.
So like those for me are like my 3 key books for my Venom fandom.
Yeah.
I'm sure things came down the line, but like to me, that's my Venom. I know that there's like Flash Thompson Venom, and there's like I know the Venom thing continues, but like Eddie Brock, like Todd McFarlane, this era, that's my Venom.
Yeah.
So I at some point will get that comic book. Like, you know, I'm at the point in my life now where financially I'm able to do that kind of thing, but I still have that, like, I have that regret. I had this exact conversation with my buddy in the car after we were on our way back home, and I was like holding all this in my lap in the bags and everything, and I told him I'm like I feel guilty for buying these things. And
where's that come from?
It's because like I know what the world is like as far as like the way things are trending financially. I know we're in a downturn. Yeah. Things are about to get worse than a lot of people realize. Like, I've known that was coming for a while.
Yeah.
But like it's scary when you're in the moment. Yeah. I'm like, you know, like if I lost my job tomorrow, I could survive for a while.
Yeah.
But like I don't know what I want to do going forward. Like, I'm going to be 40 this year. Like, how easy would it be for me to find another job, you know, that I would be comfortable doing or would be a good situation? How quickly, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, I know that like I'm doing okay right now, but that could always change. And so like splurging hundreds of dollars on a whim on comic books that are just going to sit on these shelves to my left and right isn't necessarily a fine financial situation. It's just a want. It's not a need, you know? And so it's like I struggle sometimes with the needs versus the wants. I don't do wants all the time.
Yeah.
So like I don't feel like I'm abusive about it, but I still feel guilty when I do it. Like I've got my 40th birthday this year. I've talked about like planning to trip to Chicago and everything. I know I still have to put money aside for that, like for travel, hotel, activities and shit. And so like I'm thinking about that going forward. Like, you know, that because like September will be here before I fucking know it.
Yeah.
You know, time flies. Like I'm going to need new tires on my car here in the springtime. Like I can definitely tell that my tires don't grip as well as they did prior. And like, you know, they ran the little tire test on my shit at the end of October. That's November, December, January, February. Now we're in March. That's almost 5 more months of tire wear. Granted, I don't drive every day and I don't drive very far very often. So it's like I haven't put a ton more wear on them since then. But still, that's 5 more months of wear on those tires that like they were getting kind of close to being needed to be changed out in October.
Yeah.
I have to take my cats to be spayed next month. Yeah. I have deposits on them, but I still got to pay the rest of that shit. Like, and not to put too much out there, but I have tickets to Disturbed that I finally got last week that me and my buddies have been talking about. I have tickets that I had bought a little bit ago to go to see Shane Gillis next month. I bought tickets to go see Miss Pat in May last week, and I bought tickets to go see Louis C.K. in August last week. So I've got – oh, and I'm going to the Cavs – no, yeah, spoiler, 2 weeks from now I won't be here for the show. I have to go to the Cavs game. Those were free, though, so I don't feel bad about that one. Those were a gift from my sister. She got those for free and passed the come up over to me.
Pass the savings on.
Yeah. But yeah, like so it's like I know that I've done these other things or I've got these other events planned or that I've paid for or whatever. So it's like I feel guilty, you know, doing more on top of that for things that really are just going to sit there. They're going to get looked at. They have sentimental value.
Yeah. But
outside of sentimental value, they have no practical value. So
I get where you're coming from. I hear you as loud as you're saying it. I just think you work so hard and have worked so hard for so long. Just a couple of treats every now and again is so certainly okay. I know, especially see you where you're like, oh my God, these dark times are about to come. I'm like, this is the time. Then you got to get your rainbows in while you can, and because sooner or later you may not be able to. So why not?
Yeah, yeah. Like, I realized, you know, a week and a half ago, I was having a conversation about the economy with my buddies.
Yeah.
And it dawned on me that, like, I built my emergency fund during COVID.
Yeah.
And that like was done with COVID prices in mind.
Yeah.
And the world has changed in the last 5 years. Things are more expensive. I was like, shit, like I need to increase my emergency fund to reciprocate what's been happening in the world. So I started trickling more money into my emergency fund. I've put more money on my mortgage. Like right now, I am 6.5 years ahead of schedule on paying my house off.
Yeah, we talked about that recently. Yeah.
Yeah, like literally after I made my payment a couple weeks ago, I have based on if I stopped making extra payments and just did the normal payment for the duration of the mortgage, I've 15 years, 4 months left. Yeah. I'm supposed to be at 21 years, 10 months based on the timeline of when I started paying to now. Yeah. So I'm 6 years and 6 months ahead of schedule. My goal is to get this motherfucker paid off as fast as possible. Because honestly, if I paid off my house and my mortgage was gone, if I lost my job, I wouldn't care as much.
Yeah.
I'd figure it out.
Yeah.
It would suck. And like, obviously I'd still have to eat and utilities have to be paid and I'd have property taxes and HOI. Like expenses don't go away, but not having to worry about paying a mortgage and having the roof over my head taken away would make losing my job a lot more of a manageable situation than if I were to lose it like right now.
Yeah. You can absorb that blow a little cleaner. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, hey, the world is, and literally it's our fault. Not our fault because nigga, but it is our fault quite literally, as in the United States of America's fault that we are in the current state we are in. And so it is what it is. And so I just I don't know, man. I'm hopeful. I try to remain peaceful about it, and just it is what it is, baby. I can't make it no better, and I'm trying, and I hope it don't get no worse. But we'll see. As my government looms shutdown this weekend.
Yeah, I didn't even know that was happening, and then I got an email today at work where it was like talking about like what might happen if the government shuts down. Yeah. I was like, oh shit. Yeah. Talking about this again, huh? Like I'm like, how could the government shut down? Like, didn't they get rid of everybody? Isn't the budget clear now? What are you doing?
Though I don't normally try to delve this deep into it. It is because one party has always said the government is useless, and they want to prove it by fucking up everything that has worked before this whole time. I'm not saying the government is great, but the government has worked pretty just well, you know what I'm saying? And now they're like, fuck it, burn it all to the goddamn ground, and you'll see what we've been saying this whole time is right. The government is trash. And it's like, it's not trash. You're making it trash with intention. And you're doing shit, like I said, unnecessary. There's unnecessary cruelty built into it. It's like, not only am I going to make it fucking terrible, I'm going to make it terrible for the less of you, the least of you. And I'm just like, you sons of fucking bitches. But it's what you voted for. And you got it, baby. Love it. Love that for you. Fuck all y'all. Anyway, I'm excited that you went and one, just had a good time, ate some good food, got some dope shit. This is a win. This is all wins to me. You know what I'm saying?
I just realized I should clarify for the record. We did stop at that rest stop with the Taco Johns, but both of us were so fucking uncomfortably full from eating earlier in the day that we neglected to get Taco Johns.
It was wise. It was a wise. See, that smart decisions right there. Like, you know what? Good to know you're there, Taco John. Maybe next time, big baby, but not this time.
Man, we stopped there to like use the bathroom and so he can get some gas, and I needed some water and stuff.
Yeah.
So I bought a bottle of Gatorade water. You know, we have electrolytes in it, and I got a Fairlife protein shake.
Yeah.
Because they had like a strawberry, and like I wanted to try the strawberry. I didn't know because I get the chocolate from Sam's Club,
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking, oh, strawberry chocolate, it'll be like similar, you know? And like it is technically, but like
I heard it too. I don't know what it was, but I heard it.
I think the kittens are going a little like stir crazy. I think one of them's in the laundry room behind the wall here doing something. But anyway, sorry. I bought the strawberry muscle milk thinking like, oh, it'll be like the same as the chocolate one.
Yeah.
And like it had less protein in it and it was like almost twice the calories. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I didn't look at the thing until we were already driving away.
Yeah.
Not that like I would have went back in and be like, I want my money back. But
yeah.
So like I guess like they treat it more like Nesquik, where like the strawberry one has like 7 less grams of protein in it, and they use cane sugar to sweeten it, whereas like the chocolate one has 30 grams of protein. They just use like cocoa powder, so they don't like pump it full of a bunch of sugar. They use like stevia and shit.
Yeah.
So that's why it was like tastier but like less nutritious. But I brought that up because I handed $7 bills to the cashier. It was an older gentleman, and you would have thought that I just fucked his whole day up. Where like, I think people have gotten so used to just paying with cards or whatever that actually handing someone paper money and them having to figure out what to do with it, like blew their fucking mind.
I watched somebody pay, like, you know, the car in front of me basically pay at like McDonald's recently, and the amount of time it took for the transaction to go through was like, y'all don't know what to do with money no more. That's crazy to me. But here we are. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
I would have thought that if I would have handed anybody money, handing it to this, because this dude was like gray hair, like
grizzled vet. You know what I'm saying?
He's been around greenbacks before. And when I handed this shit to him, and it was just like, oh my God, dude, it's 7 singles. Like, it ain't as deep.
It really probably wasn't, because what you probably bought was at least $6, right?
Yeah, it was $6, and I got 22 cents back. And like usually gas station attendants back in my day, they were, because I've worked as a clerk at a gas station before. It was only like 3 months, but I did it. You were appreciative when someone brought in singles, because usually people would pay with 20s and they would suck away all your change.
Yeah.
So getting 7 singles was like a godsend. So I was thinking, oh man, I'm doing this man a solid here, getting him some change. But oh my God, it was like I broke the fucking universe.
Like, sir, what is this? That's money. We used it. We can still use it to pay for things.
Yeah, it's the fake paper that's backed by money that precious metals that don't really exist, because we just continue to print so much of it.
I say we ain't been on the gold whatever standard for a very long time. So
it's the paper backed by the Ponzi scheme run by the government.
Can't call it, man. Can't call it. Well, thank you for sharing that with us, Box. Good to hear that you had a good time and did some things, man. Your boy, I slid out. Now, look, if you listen to the last week's episode, you pretty much heard the story, because I had to tell the story because it was kind of like part of the story. But I can tell Box this, and maybe this is a different variation on the thing. My sister told me my mom was coming to visit her for a week, so my mom was going to be down there for like X amount of time, and I was like, shit, I ain't seen my mom in a while, or my sister for that matter. And I was like, we could probably slide out, get down there, kick it for a day, 2, you know what I'm saying, and come back without much anything. So I wrap boots under. I'm like, hey, man, I'll be real with you. I got this and this to pay and so forth and so on. But if you can help, and I mean, by help, I mean gas, food, I mean, you got to do the work. We can slide out to Virginia, go visit your grandma. And he was hyped at first. He's like, not that he got less hype, but he was hyped. He's like, oh, hell yeah, I'm down. And I'll bring my lady and so forth and so on. His lady ended up having to work, so she couldn't come. But he was excited to do it. And I was like, all right, dope. Then let's do it. And so we slid out, drove down to Virginia, and I got to visit with my sister and my mom. It was lovely. And it was a surprise. They didn't know I was coming. And in fact, my sister didn't. So my mom calls me in the blue and just rapping to me, and she asked me, and this is not. She's like, "Oh, what you doing?" Oh, I'm like, "Oh, we just driving." Where you driving to? And I'm like, "What the fuck kind of question is that, Mama?" Like, that seemed real suspicious that you asked me that right now. Who the fuck done rat on your boy? Who done told on me? But I had to just catch my chills. Like, Oh, we just out here, you know. Well, what's that? And so she just caught a vibe. I don't know. And so she's like, oh, your sister ain't here. She's over here at her friend's house, her dog sitting. And she's watching somebody's dogs for her. So I'm like, oh, okay. So then I'm like, well, I can call my sister now. If my sister ain't gonna be there, because basically my mama was like, oh, your sister ain't here, ain't gonna be here for a little bit. I'm like, let me call her and give her a heads up. I'm like, girl, we about 2 hours out from your house. She's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, it's gonna be dope. You know what I'm saying? We come to kick it with y'all. And she's like, oh my gosh, she's like excited there. But I'm like, by the time we get there, because traffic is terrible through all of Virginia, because Virginians can't drive, and or Xander liked the way they drive. He said they just drive like NASCAR. You got to just shake and bake. And I'm like, I'm just not trying to drive like that. These people drive like fools. And so we get there a little bit after 9. And so it's late-ish for my mama. And I'm knocking on my sister's door. And my mama was scared to answer the door because she knows by herself, like, who the hell coming into this door this hour, basically? Why are you knocking like the police? And but she opens the door and it's me. And you know me. Hey, it's me, baby. And she's like, she's so surprised. She's like, oh my God. And then she just starts bawling. Ugly crying, bro. It was crazy. Because she hadn't seen me, and it was just such a wonderful time. And she gets to see her grandbabies, and like such a and it's like, oh man, that's gravy. And I'm hugging her, and I'm holding her, and I'm loving her, but she's crying so hard about chest. But Box, I had to piss like a goddamn racehorse. So basically, I just had to pass my mom off to one of my children because I had to go to the bathroom. But like, I got to go to the bathroom. I'm sorry, I love you. So it's just wild that it went down like that. But yeah, man, I got to visit my mom for a couple of days, which was lovely. Just sitting with my mom, kicking with her and so forth. And we walk in and she watches some soap opera. It's a new black soap opera, y'all. It's literally it's almost an entire black cast. And I'm watching it with her, and I'm like, Mama, look at these people's hair. Look at these people's makeup. This is terrible. And she's like, oh, you right. But she goes, it's terrible, but it's like good and terrible. So I'm watching this damn soap opera with my mom. So I'm like, all right, hold on. Let me give you some. Let me. But I'm like, oh, I gotta watch Severance. Because I need to be, caught up on Severance. So I put on Severance and I try to watch it. And it's like this week's episode of Severance was a little too, I don't know, a little too thinking. So I was like that. I know I didn't absorb that episode as much as I should have, but I was like, my mom saw that Ted Lasso was on there. She goes, I heard of Ted Lasso. I go, oh, Ted Lasso? He ain't saying nothing but a word. So I put my mom on the Ted Lasso, and she immediately falls in love with Ted Lasso. It's like, I didn't think this is going to be that kind of show. And blah, blah, blah. I'm like, hell yeah. Love that for her. I love that for anybody who falls in love with Ted Lasso because it's that good a show. So that was just fun and just so forth, man. I don't know, man. It's just nice to see her. She got her hair is like wild long. And I was just like, my mom, the gray now. You know what I'm saying? She got super long gray hair, and it's like hilarious. Not hilarious, like haha, just like, oh, look at my mom aging lovely. You know what I'm saying? And it was very, very nice, man. It was very cool to get out and go kick it down there. I used Apple Maps for the first time to get me on a long journey. I used Apple Maps around the way, but I used it for a long journey, and it ended up taking me a different route down, same normal route coming back up, which of course I get to share the tale of us driving the first time we as a team drove to DC. And I explained to my kids, and my kids are like, yeah, that makes perfect sense. And I was like, that's why y'all my kids. Because telling that story to anybody else, they like, y'all are crazy. Like, what was y'all doing? We're going to drive to at that. So the story, in case you're newer to the game. It was our second anniversary, right?
I think so.
Second, third anniversary of the show.
It was early.
Yeah. We were going to drive to our second or third most listened to area because at the time we were on Audacity. No, that's not right. Audible? Nope, that's not right. Libsyn. And Libsyn broke down the data in a way that said your second and or third most listeners come from this part of the world. In this case, it was Hagerstown, Maryland, which is basically we almost if we had to think about it, it's probably where their server sat at. And that was basically covered the DC metro areas. Basically, our DC listenership came from Hagerstown, Maryland. And so the theory was, let's go to our third and or second, I can't remember, most listened to for our second and or third anniversary. And so as we got closer to Hagerstown, we was like, oh, DC is only 75 miles off the road. We can do that, right? And so as I explained it to the kids, they're like, oh yeah, yes. I'm like, that's why y'all my babies. Cause y'all understand, y'all see the vision. And so that was just fun sharing that tale with the kiddos. And
that was a rough ride home though.
It was I feel like that was when we learned it's overnights. It has to be. For long journeys, we cannot fuck around and try to just round it and come back around. We're too old. Well, we had gotten to a point where we was like, it's too old for this shit. It's tiresome. It takes it out of you. And from that moment for whenever we take trips, they are at least one night and possibly 2-3. So that was when we learned that as a team, like, nah, bro, we grown now. When grown means getting a hotel and kicking it. So that was a lesson learned. A great time to be had. I'm always proud of that trip and hanging out. I love the pictures from that trip. I have pictures of from the Lincoln Memorial looking down the mall, a box and Anthony right next to each other. We have pictures of the Martin Luther King Memorial. It's like it's just a good part of SKiM's history but my friendship with my homeboys. And so I just love that, and I got to share that tale with my kids.
What car did we take? Because I remember on the way back, you stopped somewhere because you were falling asleep and I had to take over. But I don't remember what car it was.
Good question, because you know what I've driven over the years. I know what you've driven over the years. Did you have the car by then?
I didn't drive that day because I remember I started out in the back.
Maybe we rented
was it your black car?
No, because my black car was the Focus. We definitely didn't drive the Focus down south. Yeah,
maybe we rented something.
Yeah, we probably rented something. One of our patrons, who was a good friend of ours, probably helped us rent. Well, me, because I'm saying rent a car, and that way we could ride out on that one. If I'm blurrily remembering this, it's probably what it had to have been. There was no way, like I said, none of us had a vehicle that was that good yet to be doing that. Because Ant wasn't gonna push one of his cars at that point in time. That means it probably means it was you right before you got not right before, but I mean before you got the car you got, which means you're probably still in the Sable. And I was definitely in the Focus. Ain't no way. So yeah, we had to rent the car and rode out on that. God, man, I love it. I love we take trips together and so forth and so on. And well, like I said, we since we both got big numbers this year, we're gonna see how it all plays out for a trip or a journey of some sort. But yeah, man, it was really nice. I really enjoyed seeing my mom and my big sis. My brother was super jelly that he wasn't there for it. I'm like, bro, this is a surprise to all involved, and I'm sorry that you couldn't be a part of it. But we got a family reunion coming up in June. It's like the week after my kid graduates. I'm already like, bro, come on, man, y'all is really asking a lot of your mans on this one. But I'll see what I can if I can make something happen with that. But same as you, I need new tires on the car. I need new rear tires on the car. Front tires are good because they've been replaced most recently. So of course they're good, but the rear tires need to be replaced, and the rear brakes are looking like they need to be replaced as well. So I don't know. I can't call it, but we'll look into it. That car will be paid off here early next year because that was a pandemic car. I bought that during the pandemic, so that car's almost.
Not the one that's been like completely replaced like 2 or 3 times now.
No, just once. But this is the replacement of the one car. So yeah, so that car would have been paid off, but now this car will be paid off. So that's actually pretty exciting for me as well. But that's a little bit of tea time. You know what I'm saying? That's what's been craculating with me. You know what it is. Every week, even this episode we did with my mama. Normally, you know what I'm saying, I don't do a regular show with my mom, but I was like, we gonna do a regular show, include Emma the Asshole. And turns out my mama is a fan of Emma the Asshole. Fucking great. Not a fan of my potty mouth, but a fan of Emma Asshole as a segment. And we gonna do it again this week. And look, I got a video for it. So I pulled 3 this week. This one is the one that interests me the most. I want to hear. I was like, as soon as I saw it, I was like, what do Box would think about this? So they are as follow. Am I the asshole for talking in the same room my roommate is watching TV? Okay.
Yes, you are.
Am I the asshole? My roommate's mom banged on my door when I had a guy over and said, "Shut the fuck up." Okay. Your third one. Am I the asshole for watching my best friend's favorite show after she told me all about it and then told me not to watch it?
That sounds stupid as hell.
Starting with that one. The look on your face just makes that worth the walk. So let's walk it. Am I the asshole for watching my best friend's favorite show after she told me all about it and then told me not to watch it? I, 20 male, want to watch my best friend's 20 female favorite show at the moment after she kept talking to me about it, and I eventually decided I want to check it out. And I told her I wanted to, and she told me not to, as she likes to keep her favorite things private to her so they feel more special and personal, and so I don't potentially criticize them. I have a long history of being a bit heavy-handed when criticizing, to be fair, but I'm a lot better now than I used to be. Because she says any criticism will ruin it for her. For a bit more context, me and my friend are pretty much each other's only friends, just because we're both fairly weird and asocial, and just don't go out and meet new people much, and both have our fair share of flaws, which we don't mind about each other, and have been friends for about 6 years. We both like anime and talk about it quite a lot, and she's been talking to me about this new one for a couple of months, to the point where I wanted to go and watch it and see if I'd like it as well. My friend has a weird thing, however, that she likes to keep her most favorite things personal to herself. From me, the only person she shares them with, so they feel more unique and special for her. And basically just gatekeep them, which I'm normally fine with, as we'll talk about and yap about them anyway, even if I haven't seen them. This show is one of those things she likes to keep personal, and we keep on yapping about it, and she shows me clips since I'm the only person she can really share with. Eventually, all she has convinced me to watch is all has convinced me to watch it, but she's always insisted I don't, and we've been having this specific debate a couple of times now, but we still keep yapping about the show happily away. Despite that, I started to watch it as I don't really want to let her keep gatekeeping it from me. And generally, I don't think media or culture is something that should be kept behind any bars. It's also not even about embarrassment either, as she never would have talked to me about it as much. And from everything I've seen so far, it's completely fine considering how well we know each other. I probably won't even tell her I've watched it, as I know she'll just probably get upset by having it known having known her for 6 years. And it'll be a whole ordeal. And that'll be a pain and mean nothing eventually. Okay, just be a pain and mean nothing eventually. Okay. This is the only time it's really come to me actually wanting to watch and her wanting to gatekeep. And the only thing I'm really curious is about if the other people think I'm being a dick by not listening to her, or if she's just gatekeeping the show and I shouldn't care. Okay, that's the base of these operations. A couple of edits, but taking just right there, just what's been provided for you. This dude an asshole for watching a show that his friend don't want him to watch?
No, like,
what a weird request.
Yeah, like, you would think that you'd want to share the things you enjoy with other people, like not prevent them from maybe also enjoying them. Yeah, it's a weird ass fucking request.
Yeah, that's a weird ask, and I don't quite understand her situation with that. But hey, edit strong recurring theme in the comments, which I figured was probably the case. I only posted because I wasn't sure if I was missing something. Again, I'm actually watching the show, and I'm not going to tell her because I CBA for the argument. I don't know what CBA means, or if that's a typo. CBA for the argument, and clearly there's a reason neither of us really have any other friends and can't really afford to potentially lose her over something as dumb as this, LOL. Also, as dumb as all of this seems, and I get the sub is called Am I the Asshole? I'd appreciate if you could not call my best friend stupid and an idiot anyways. Cheers. Edit 2. People keep asking what the show is out of curiosity and to hate watch, which has given me a better understanding of my friend's perspective, LOL. Also, my friend is chronically online, and I'm scared she finds this somehow, since I specifically don't want her to find out I'm watching it. So I'm not going to share it. And so poetically, I guess now I am the asshole, LOL, because he's not sharing the show with Reddit, who's like, what's the show? No one thinks this person's an asshole. I don't think this person's an asshole. Oh, wait a minute. Here's a glow-in-the-dark one here. I vote everyone sucks here. Given OP's apparent history of ruining shows for her, I don't think that's what he said at all, but okay. I don't think this is at all a reasonable ask, but it didn't come from nowhere. Okay, buddy. Sometimes Reddit be on some bullshit. Here's another glow-in-the-dark comment. OP admits to a long history of heavy criticism. I wouldn't want it ruined either, especially if it's something I enjoy and can actually suspend belief to enjoy and want to share with my friend. OP can watch or not watch, but don't ruin your friend's enjoyment with criticisms. You can just say it's not for you and leave it at that and enjoy their enthusiasm. Otherwise, you might have this friend much longer. Maybe they meant you might not have this friend much longer, but they did not put the not in there that was necessary. So there you go. That was a weird one. It was weird just off the rip, and I said, the look on Box's face made me chuckle. Am I the asshole? My roommate's mom banged on my door when I had a guy over and said, shut the fuck up. I, female 19, live in a college apartment with 3 other roommates. The roommate who lives right next to me, female 19, had her mom stay the weekend with her in her room. Tonight, I had a guy over. Nothing crazy happened. Around 5 a.m., we started to fool around. The mom then bangs on the door and says, can y'all shut the fuck up? Mind you, we aren't making much noise. All we're really doing is making out, no sex. Also, in the past, when I've had company, I've asked my roommate if she could hear me and my guest, and she has said that she can't hear us. So am I the asshole for having a guy over and making noise while her mom is staying over?
No, like I feel like the mom escalated the situation by the way she spoke to them.
Yeah.
But like maybe like the oh yeah, you chiming in? My cat is very vocal on the subject.
Fair.
Like I don't know if like they maybe have a false sense of how loud they are based on the roommate's definition of like can hear you or not. But even still, like the mom could be a little more cordial. Like if it's like a first offense, if they are being loud, then like just asking nicely would go pretty well compared to, you know, being aggressive about it.
Yeah. Also, you're a guest in my home.
I was literally just about to say, you're a fucking guest. Be a little more respectful.
For sure. There's an edit. Since a lot of people are comedy, yes, we're probably a tad bit louder than I originally thought. But there definitely wasn't any extreme moaning or super egregious sounds, no beds or walls shaking. I was mostly taken aback by how she approached me. But it's on me for making noise. From now on, I will definitely be more cautious of bringing guests when my roommate has her parents. Sure, I guess that can be a way of it is. But I think you're just young and not considering the fact that that's your house. She's the problem here, not you. So, but I'm like I said, person's 19 years old, literally a teenager. They don't know no better. They will figure it out as grow on. They're like, hold on. That brain go click in the place. Like, wait a minute, that bitch is in my house telling me to shut the fuck up? Hold up. It'll be a real problem for anybody. Like I said, just a few more years down the line, a little more growth on this person's part. They're going to be like, oh, hell no. Glow in the dark comment, not the asshole. Girl, it's your apartment too, which me and Box just said. If you weren't out here summoning demons with the moans of the dam, then her mom need to chill. Like, ma'am, this is college, not a monastery. If she wants total silence at 5 a.m., maybe a college apartment wasn't the best weekend getaway.
Yeah, usually parents like rent a hotel room somewhere. They don't impose on their kids in their shared dormitory.
Thank you. Dumb as shit, you dumbass. Last one. Am I the asshole for talking in the same room my roommate is watching TV? Again, I really wanted Box's perspective on this one. New to Reddit, but need some opinions on if I'm in the wrong. So me and my roommate got in a huge fight over this. We live together in a fairly small house that I own and rent out a room to him. See that right there. Again, I scan these. I don't give them a full read because I like to come into them just as surprised as the rest of y'all. That is new information to me. I didn't realize it was this motherfucker's house. Nigga, what? We live together in a fairly small house that I own and rent out a room to him. He watches TV in the living room often, which is fine because I'm more of a bedroom dweller anyway. So occasionally I'll walk through the living room that is also connected to the kitchen to go to the fridge, throw something away, etc. Often when I enter a room with other people present, I will say something small to break tension. It feels kind of like an anxiety take. I just feel weird entering a room and just ignoring people. So yesterday I was building a model, and after I finished, I went to throw away the box and to get a drink. As I threw the box away, I said out loud, "Wow, that took me longer than expected." My roommate immediately paused the movie he was watching and started angrily berating me for speaking to him without telling him to pause his movie first. He thinks it's good manners to make sure anything he is watching is paused before addressing him. I will do this if I'm trying to have a long conversation, but I'm just saying it's one of those. I'm just saying one thing or asking a fast question. I think it's tedious, especially since he's using the main TV in the central part of the house that every door leads to. So am I the asshole? Taking just that information. There is an edit after this.
I still think they're an asshole. As someone who lives this constantly, like if you're watching a show and there's dialogue happening, like actual plot points are taking place, and you come in and you start talking to me, I can't hear any of the fucking script that is being spoken on the TV. So while your thing may be quick, 10, 15, 20 seconds, that is now 10, 15, 20 seconds of the actual show with actual things happening that I've invested time in, that I've been paying attention to, that I've been trying to absorb, that now I have to fucking rewind it and whatever. Like, if you could just, like, wave me down, it's easy to pause on pause. It's kind of sucks if you're in it and, like, something's happening and you're invested to stop, but it's way better than someone just coming in and talking over it unannounced.
Did you write this, I'm an asshole, and I need to be worried about some shit?
I told you. I just live this life. It annoys the shit out of me when it happens.
Edit. For context, to clarify a few points that keep coming up. The statement I made wasn't looking for a response. I think I use the word I often talk to myself as I work in a kind of isolating job. So maybe this habit is something I need to work on. My roommate and me have been friends for a long time, and this has never been an issue. I used to sing out loud, but stopped that realizing it was annoying. I think I used the word tension when I meant just awkwardness. I know this too is a flaw I have. I don't mind him using the living room. This isn't me secretly being mad that he uses the living room. I have a large TV in my bedroom, and it's the same size as the TV I bought for the living room. I also don't care that he's in the living room most of the day. He works from home. I just didn't realize it would mean that I wasn't going to be able to make comments and remarks to myself unless in my room. I'm also not doing this often. I guess maybe on the average once a day. If I was repeatedly doing it during the same movie/video, then I feel like the reaction would be more warranted. Also, he wasn't like in a dark room with popcorn fully immersed. He was on the phone while watching the movie, making it feel less like an issue. I think for this specific one, using just this one, but probably, like Box is pointing out, this happened before. This one time, I get why he has written down an asshole. Like, man, am I fucking up wrong for this? Nah, bruh. For this one, I get it. You walk out of the room, man, that took me a long time. You just was saying it more to yourself than anybody else. But this motherfucker like, oh, what the fuck, man? I'm over here watching whatever I'm watching. Blah, blah, blah. That's wilding. But it's not the first time he's done this. Clearly not. And your man's over here watching this program finally reached a point where he like, I got to check this fool. It happens too often. So in this one instance, no, you're not an asshole, but it's not the first time this has happened. Probably won't be the last time it happens. So
yeah, he's a habitual line stepper.
Well, a habitual line stepper is accurate AF. You probably have done this before in the past. You'll probably do it again. And so your man's over here trying to explain to you his position is indeed okay. I can see why Fox and Reddit both say, yes, you're an asshole for this situation. Didn't initially when I first gave this to one star. I was like, y'all wilder. But you delve into it, you look at it, get a little more, whatever.
The person that I deal with that does this does it at the movie theater. That's how egregious my situation is.
No. Now, here's the funny part. Me and Vanessa, especially like I said, we recently saw Interstellar in the theater. Which, again, we talked about it on the episode I did with my mom. But we know that movie. We know we watched it. We own it. We watched it. It's the first time we've seen it in the theater, which is wild to see in Dolby Atmos. Crazy to see it. But we can lean.
Is that the Matthew McConaughey movie?
Yeah. I can lean over to Vanessa and be like, and just a little something in her ear because we know the movie, we've seen it, and it's her and I. That's our relationship, and that's how we promise you. Since the first time we saw a movie together, we saw Dark Knight, another Christopher Nolan movie. Our first date was Dark Knight Rises. Guess what? In that movie, her and I were still leaning over, whispering to each other about stuff in the movie on our first date. The first time I sat and watched a movie with this woman, and the fact that she was cool with that, and we were okay to kind of have a little, you know what I'm saying? Man, it's like how I knew we was gonna be right together. Because it's just a situation we got. But here's the thing. I'll be down here watching a YouTube video. And she'll come down from work. You know what I'm saying? She works different hours than I do. And she'll come down and just start talking. I'm like, God damn it, baby. So I know this too. But it's love. It's just, it's from a space of love. And it's also like just her finally being able to release the day's tension. And so it's fine. But I get it, and I hear you, and I see you, and I get it, and I understand why now. That's not the first time you did that, or the last time you're going to do that. So I get it. So peace to the gods. Sorry about that. That's your assets for the week. We certainly hope you enjoy them. We do them all the time. If you think, hey, I want to send these guys an M&S, or you come across on these internet streets, and or you might have an M&S in your life, you think we could lend some perspective to, no worries, man. Holler at us, and we are down for the get down. Down to clown at all times. So you get to go. These are all in your show notes if you want to read over them yourself and maybe comment. Worry not. They're right there already. I've already done the notes. They're there. I've taken them and written them down already. While we're talking about that, let's click the save button to make sure those notes are saved. Because I close this file out and I'll be real upset. Entertainment, you know what I'm saying? Every week we try to talk about what we've been watching, getting down with, and so forth and so on. Box, what has been entertaining you the last couple of weeks? As like I said, we didn't do it last week together. What has had you entertained?
I finished School Spirits, like the season's officially over. So I've watched all of that.
Yeah.
I'm current on Found, on The Irrational.
Mm-hmm.
I started the new season of Yellow Jackets.
Okay.
I am current on Daredevil. As of right before this recording, I watched the new episode.
Okay.
Well, outside of that, I think I've just been basketball, and I watched like the wrestling pay-per-view on Sunday.
Was it WWE or was that AEW?
AEW.
Okay.
I hadn't watched any AEW programming in like 2 months, but I still watched the pay-per-view. Okay. I tried watching their weekly show last night. I was like, all right, the pay-per-view happened Sunday. Let me see how this Wednesday following the pay-per-view goes. And it didn't really like capture me.
Fair. Hey man, it's just WWE is kind of hitting on all cylinders right now to people who seem to love wrestling.
Yeah. Well, it's WrestleMania season. Like,
oh yeah,
this is the time of the year when like their shit usually is like top tier.
Yeah. And
then like there's usually like a summer drop off, and then like around the fall, like before Royal Rumble is kind of like, nah.
Okay. Very good. That's what's up. Call of Duty still?
I played a couple times. I played I want to say it was Tuesday night for like 2 hours. I played like for like an hour and a half on Sunday just so I could finish up the turtle event that was going on.
Yeah.
I've realized that like my Call of Duty squad is dwindling. The weather is getting warmer outside now, and people are kind of like, the one dude's just like, oh, well, the weather's warmer. I go outside during this time of the year. I don't really play Call of Duty anymore. I get kind of tired of it. I'm like, you're a mid-30s-year-old married man who works a 9 to 5. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing on a Wednesday evening that you can't hop on Call of Duty for an hour and a half in the evening with your friends?
Yeah.
I'm like, the sun goes down at some time, sir. But like Verdansk is coming back. I was
about to say Verdansk. I saw they announced Verdansk comes back here in April. So
yeah, so the people that I used to do Warzone with, that I haven't been doing Warzone with because I went and did multiplayer with these other people, they will have me back here shortly because I'm definitely going to try and play Verdansk. If it ends up being like it was last time when it was out, 5 years ago, then it might be a short-lived, because they're talking about like not even making Warzone anymore if this shit flops. So, but that's their own fucking doing for allowing, so much cheating to go on and, barely doing anything about it. So they've made their own bed. Now they have to lie in it.
There you go. But that same company is re-releasing Tony Hawk 3 and 4 in a package. So that's going to be fun. And also in April. So lots of good stuff. No, or did that say June? I don't know. It's coming out soon. So if you fuck with Tony Hawk, Pro Skater.
I played like the first couple back, when I was still living in my dad's back in high school. Yeah. Like we played 1 and 2 a lot. Like I was really good at them. Yeah. I think I played 3 like on the Xbox maybe. Okay. And then I think that was the last one I ever played.
I played Pro Skater on N64. I played whatever the one that was on GameCube was. I don't know what year, what model, whatever. And I played a lot of it on GameCube, but I played a lot of GameCube in general. So it is also coming to the Switch. So, but that's also because the company that is making it is Iron Galaxy. And Iron Galaxy is so good at making Switch ports that it's almost like, I think, it's like one of the companies I'm like, Nintendo, you should probably holler at them about maybe becoming in-house, because like they do amazing. It's like you're like, how did you manage to get this on this piece of equipment? It's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Y'all gotta understand the Switch is like came out in 2017 on what was already old hardware at that point in time. And this company be making miracles happen on Switch hardware. It's craziness. And so the fact that we're gonna get Tony Hawk, we're going to get Pro Skater 3+4 on the Switch is also amazing, but also makes perfect sense when Iron Galaxy's pedigree. So exciting times for that. You been listening to anything? Any new music or anything like that? Have you been checking out anything? I don't know what you've been grooving to. The new Lady Gaga's out. I don't know if you gave it a go, but it's pretty good. So
I can say that I haven't. Not to my best of my knowledge, I've not heard any new music lately.
Fair enough. Of course, I told you I was watching Ted Lasso on Mama. I'm fully caught up on Severance. I wish they would push this episode tonight so I can maybe watch it tonight, but they have not, because this last episode was one of them it was basically like a Beard's Night Out episode of Ted Lasso. It was specifically about the one lady and only about her. And it was, and it was like a shorter episode. And like I'm like, it was a fine episode because you do get some like, oh shit, some shocking information toward the end. I'm not trying to ruin it for anybody, but also it's kind of whack because there's only 2 episodes left in this season, and it's like you're gonna waste one of these last 3 episodes on this bullshit, because that's what it felt like. You know what I'm saying? And so we'll see how that this all plays out here on this week and going into next. I finished up What If last night, but I'm like I said, I was not feeling great last night, so I definitely fell asleep. So I need to go back and watch the second half of that episode. What If season 3, which is the last season of What If, was fun. Like I said, just a fun. I enjoy What If overall. So this is just a real fun episode, fun watch, and it was wrapping up real fun too. So I'm excited to see. I need to go back and just watch those last few minutes of it. I started like literally one episode of Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, also on Disney Plus. Real fun show. I'm very excited to see where this goes and takes off from here. But that first episode was like, oh yeah, this is a good time, and I'm like, okay, cool. I like the way it looks. It's very comic book. Like frames and stuff, you'll be like, oh, and the way they pan across stuff is very comic book. I'm like, I dig that. So Your Friendly Neighbor, and it starts with a Venom of sorts. So like literally like one of the first things you see in that episode is a Venom coming into that shit. So I'm like, yeah, that's a good time to be had. So Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. I don't think I've been playing is Fortnite and Balatro, of course. But Balatro always like and Monopoly Go. Pokemon Go got bought by the Saudis. The Saudis own Scopely, who actually owns Monopoly Go, who makes Monopoly Go. And so I don't know where where Pokemon Go is going to go. And I was like, I'm so close to having been playing this game for 10 years. Next year is its 10th year. That I feel kind of like, damn, that's kind of fucked up that bad people got their hands on this game. But I'm like, I don't know. I've been playing Monopoly Go this whole time. And they bought, like I said, they own Scopely as well. And that's who has bought all of Niantic's games in their whole little division. So I don't know. I can't call it. We'll see what's going on with Pokemon Go. And if my time with it is coming sooner than later. Like I say, the new Lady Gaga is pretty swell. She was both the host and musical guest on this last week's Saturday Night Live. And it was very, very good. Vanessa was like, you gotta watch. And I was really like, I'm not trying to watch fucking time. Fine. So then I watch it and it ends up being fucking hilarious and just a fun episode. And I'm like, then I feel like an asshole. Just like at some point I sometimes gotta get the fuck out of my own way and just be like, she wants to watch the damn show, watch the damn show. And so it ended up being a real fun episode. And like I said, the music on there, the music I've heard off the album is very enjoyable. So if you get down with Lady Gaga doing some dance music again, there you go. But I also got this little bit of interesting. This is De La Soul's Clear Lake Auditorium, and you have to see this. That's the cover doing that. It's like got liquid in it and slots around in the cover, and that's the actual the vinyl itself. I actually have recently made a TikTok that got a little burn about why PVC pouches are terrible for your records, because they at certain temperatures basically release a gas that can ruin your vinyl. And so what I have done is replace all my I have safely placed my records in an inner sleeve, which is archival quality rice paper and so forth. And so they're always safe against the that is PVC. This is look, the effort it took me to free the record from this case, this thing. Like, this was wrapped in plastic, and then this is stuck, and like it was basically adhering to the PVC, which, like I said, this is why PVC is terrible for records. It's weird they put records in things like this. But this was initially released back in '94. 500 copies were pressed up. They only gave it out to like specific DJs. They wanted to play De La's music. And so they made a re-release. They announced this back in January. And so this arrived the other day. And it arrived the day I left to go to Virginia. And I was like, damn, new record, can't do shit. But I came home and I finally got to play it this week. And it's fun. And I like I don't know. Apparently, the vinyl has sold out on De La's site, but apparently there's still copies up on, I think, Amazon. But I'm currently not shopping with Amazon, Walmart, or Target. And so far, so good. So I've been real good as to not go to any of those stores. I hadn't been to Target in all of 2025 so far. So we'll see if I can keep that heads high. But that's what has been entertaining me this week. And that's pretty much the show. Now check this out. This is something I've been working on. Let me see if I can get it to do it. Forgive me. Get my notes back on the screen here. And I'm going to click this button. How loud is that box?
Not too bad.
Perfect. That's what I want. Just a little groove to say housekeeping. Come on, join us. Every Thursday, we're doing this live. We record usually around 8:30 Eastern Daylight Time now, as it were. You can typically join us in the chat. We're having a good time. Not only do we record the show on Thursdays, the episode we record on Thursdays goes up on the next Thursday. So, you know what I'm saying? You'll get it either way. Get it coming and going. Please rate, review, subscribe, and share the show on the aforementioned YouTube, Spotify, and, of course, over there on Apple Podcasts. If you want to support the show financially, we got a few bucks stars away. Consider joining us over on Patreon. Remember, the $5 and above tier. You get extra content each month and early access to these shows. We got merch over at tpublic.com/user stays Krunchy and milk. It's all one word, and Krunchy, of course, is spelled with a K. And feel free to give us a call at 216-264-6311. That's 216-264. We would certainly love to hear from you. Our missing man is the 216's own Tatum 216. That is, of course, my esteemed co-host, co-chair, co-whatever, Lunchbox 2099.
I showed up. And I showed out.
At all times, sir. It's what I expect of you every single damn time. I am, of course, the internet's Tay-Rail713. Don't make me push you into traffic. We'll do this again next time. Peace.
What happened to your ass? It used to be beautiful.